In the wise words of Ron Burgundy, milk was indeed a bad choice. And today, guys, despite this 100-degree weather, we're going in deep with the Lizardmen replay facing off against the Vampire Counts. So historically, I think this is actually a pretty terrible matchup for the Vampire Counts. It's very tough to deal with Temple Guard spam in the classic Croak Doombox. So ever since the Prophet and the Warlock DLC, Lord Croak has been raining terror upon the Vampire Counts. He does, of course, have 3 tiers of the Deliverance of Pizza, each of which does more damage. And honestly, against the Vampire Counts, to clear out Chaff or Graveguard, you can pretty much just use the first and second tier, and it is so damn efficient because the Vampires, just the way they play, they typically have to blob up on you, right? You're not going to be seeing a lot of missile play and things like that. There's going to be hordes of zombies and Graveguard and skeletons just all over your troops, and throughout the course of the game, if you're able to get really good casts with Lord Croak and just nuke those guys, man, it is a value train. However, the cast time does take quite some time, so if you're playing against a top-level player, most of the time, if they're able to kind of have that good battlefield awareness, they can dodge it. So in this matchup, I'm going to be facing off against the great Aerocrastic, the champion of the Ever-Chosen Invitational. And if you guys haven't seen his YouTube channel, please make sure to head on over there and check it out. He casts a lot of tournaments, does live casts, replays, all that good stuff. So as far as my build, it's going to be a variant of the Croak box. There's a couple different versions. Some people use double Feral Carnosaurs. Some people use the Saurus Scar Veterans instead because they don't rampage. And that's probably honestly a better choice. But this is the version I've been using lately. And basically it's 2 Temple Guard here in the front, the Star Chamber Guardians here in the middle, which are so good. They can beat down Graveguard. I mean, it's not like a super hard beatdown on the Graveguard, but they do win it over the course of a long fight. They do magic damage, the Star Chamber Guardians do at least, against ethereal units, and on top of that, anti-large, armor piercing, pretty good against Terrorgeist and, the big scary monsters, so these guys are just absolute beast mode. On top of that, we have the Red Crested Skink Chief. He's just a durable anchor, has a ton of HP, and with the Warrior's Crest, he is actually a pretty good duelist against some of these large dragons. The one thing that's a little bit tricky about him that I've noticed recently is that he does turn very slow, so if people are attacking him in the back, he has to kind of like waddle around before he's able to get good combat. And I actually haven't looked at the model up top. He's got like his big cane. I wonder if he swings that thing or if he just stands in this like static pose the entire time. Does he even move? Okay, he just opened his mouth there, so it looks like he is moving. In the back, we do have the cohort of Sotek. They're unbreakable. They have poison. I just think it's a nice little anchor piece here in the back line. If Cav are coming in, you can use the Refuse to Die ability. They can take a beating, and yeah, they have AP, poison, can't complain. 2 Feral Carnosaurs to fight the big monster fight, and that's pretty much it. So for Aerocrastic's build, definitely some cool stuff. He does have the Devils of Svartalf in here. Now, I'm not sure about the purpose of these guys in the matchup. Maybe just backline harass, breaking leadership, just cycle charging. They do have pretty good damage output, not the best AP, but nonetheless going to be pretty good at like tearing up skinks. And if they are able to get on Croak, and Feral Carnosaurs have how much armor? 95. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the application of these guys. On top of that, he does have the Lamian Vampire Lord. So I was really expecting Manfred. On what I've done in this matchup against the Lizards is using Manfred and casting Fate of Buna from Lore of Death. And of course, the breath attacks are quite good. But if we look at the Lamian Vampire Lord, let's see. I don't see it terribly often. So her one ability is Seduction. So negative 26 melee attack and speed, which isn't bad. So it's on a cooldown of about 2 minutes here. And it looks like it lasts 41 seconds. That's pretty long. So if he's able to get in the middle of the fray, oh, look, there's even text down there. It says, come into my cabin. You'll find it the most comfortable, I am sure. So basically you just, get your Graveguard engaged. You pop this. It's going to lower the melee attack of the Temple Guard. Not bad at all. And in the monster fights, that's pretty good. I mean, Feral Carnos have how much? 49, so yeah, it's almost like half of that. On top of that, she does have an ability called, I believe it's like Dark Reflexes or Lightning Reflexes, so yeah, ward save and speed, pretty good for getting away from the dinosaurs. Aside from that, she does have the standard vampire spells and a little bit of a sweet shadow magic, that's really good, Enfeebling Foe as well, so a nice little kit of spells. The rest of his army is going to be Graveguard with great weapons, zombies, as well as the Claw of Nagash in the back, which is, it's going to be a fierce one. It's hard to catch that thing because it slows and drains. It is very, very good. So the battle's underway here. We're going to be advancing. Temple Guard are going to be scooting forward, and you can see the rocket launcher or the minigun here on the top of the Red Crested Skink Chief is going to be shooting in. And I'm just going to be playing a very defensive game. You can see I pull back with the Temple Guard, trying to force him into my formation. He feigns a land there, and it looks like he's going to be going for it. So he lands on the Temple Guard, and I will be rushing over, but oh man, that bothered me so much. Croak just sat there in the way, and both of my Feral Carnosaurs, it's my fault, of course, got blocked up. So one of them gets there ahead of the help, and I was like, oh god, this isn't good if he turns around. But thankfully, I was able to kind of get in there and not take too much damage. One of the terror guys did get nipped on, but it's in okay shape, should be able to heal up. But what's really good about the play so far from the Vampire Counts is this Claw of Nagash was able to kind of get in a bit of a formation where my Temple Guard up in the front are isolated in the back. So here the Claw of Nagash is going to be draining these guys very efficiently, and yes, the zombies will be wearing down, but he's also being very conservative with the rest of his troops. He's not blobbing up, he's just kind of methodically sending them in. He might be losing this one group here in the center, but I really love the fact that he's being very, very conservative and just biding his time, because if you go in and just get nuked to a Croak, it's going to be terrible. So breath attack coming down from the zombie dragon, able to do about 15% HP damage, pretty good value there. And we are crumping this one group of Graveguard here in the center. They're going to be going down rather quickly, so that's a good catch. However, he has gotten a ton of damage against my Temple Guard, and the Claw of Nagash is just slowly draining my Star Chamber Guardians, and they're also hit by that sweet Seduction. So these guys are going to be, taking even longer to kill the zombies, and the Devils of Svartalfen just going in and picking off the isolated units. So in the meantime, I have been dropping a couple Croak Bombs. Actually, I'm not sure. I think I dropped one maybe, and it was off camera, but I don't think I made any great contact yet. Anyways, bounce power is relatively even. I mean, vampires typically start in the shape. I do drop the Shield of the Old Ones to give me a little bit of sustainability, as he does feign a charge, but he decides not to. And at this point, I send in the Carnosaurs to take out the Claw of Nagash to try and free up the Star Chamber Guardians, who are really getting melted. I mean, they're just fighting zombies on the front line. And that Claw of Nagash has single-handedly just been doing some great work. So here we have a bit of an engagement. Feral Carnosaurs are going to be engaging. Devils of Svartalfen are coming in. Feral Carnosaur, Red Crested King Chief. Everyone's going in pretty deep, and I didn't know if he was paying attention over here. I thought he was just kind of sitting there, but he was paying attention. He must be playing from pretty high overhead, and that's going to be the first failure of the game in terms of the Croak Bombs. So here in the center mass, you can see the Feral Carnosaurs are really getting whooped on so hard. I've been trying to get attacks here on the Terrorgeist and some of these bigger units, but it seems like he's just making the better contact here. Lightning reflexes will help this Lamian Vampire Lord get away, and I guess we got a little bit of damage on the Devils, but maybe, just maybe, the Devils of Svartalfen and the Vargeist here were able to kind of block up my attacks and make it so I couldn't get to the big dragons. Perhaps that was what it was. So here we do get another nuke here. There was a big juicy group of Graveguard, and he does pop the Scepter of Instability, giving them 44% ward save, so that is an item on one of his characters here, and he's able to dodge that. So beautiful dodges so far from Aerocrastic. It's just been a master class. So here in the center pocket, you can see that the Temple Guard and troops are going to be, winning their respective fight versus zombies, but not much to write home about there. And he's going to be going in for an Alpha Strike. Of course, the flying units have the initiative in the fight, so they can pick their engagements, and I do use Focus Instincts to stop the rampaging on my other Carnosaur. And we are able to get a little bit of an attack here on the back of the Lamian Vampire Lord, but Enfeebling Foe is going to be lowering my stats, so it seems like Aerocrastic has been dodging extremely well, and on top of that, he's been using his buffs really well. The Scepter of Instability, Enfeebling Foe, the Seduction, just so many debuffs on my big Carnos, which are really helping him win these monster fights. Plus, there's this constant menace that if I'm dealing with the Lamian Vampire Lord, I'm not dealing with the Claw of Nagash, which is then draining my infantry. It's just a beautiful synergy here. I really like this build quite a bit. So, anyways, here we're going to be surging in. Croak Daddy and company are able to get a decent attack on the Claw of Nagash. This Feral Carnosaur is getting the cold blood to make sure it keeps fighting, but I really want to finish the Claw of Nagash at this point. I was like, okay, I'm not able to get on the Lamian Vampire Lords too efficiently. Their hit and run is very good, so I'm going to try and finish the Claw of Nagash and allow my Temple Guard to just kind of grind out the matchup, because the only really hard counter against that, and I do get a decent little blow up right there, which I believe hits a bunch of these Graveguard. You can see they're crumbling, so for the first time we do get decent value from that. Temple Guard, that Seduction is really, really good. It seems like it's on cooldown. Yeah, it seems like it goes off cooldown pretty quick. Anyways, Claw of Nagash is going to be coming back in. Croak Daddy's going to be dropping some bombs. Shield of the Old Ones going down to try and keep my Temple Guard and other troops alive. Shield of the Old Ones, the Supreme Shield, does give ward save, so it's going to protect against all damage types. And here we do get a nice little nuke as well. It looks like Croak is going to be dropping some bombs. And is he going to dodge it? It looks like he might, and he is able to dodge it for the most part. It's going to clip the back of the formation. So man, his dodges have been so good. It's just awesome stuff this game. So over here, the Feral Carnosaurs are going to be jumping downtown, going after the Claw of Nagash, but it's been a grindy fight. And I mean, despite the fact that, I would say he's been getting the upper hand in regards to these big monster fights, we have grinded down a lot of the infantry. The Graveguard here, there's one group of 75, but the rest of them are very, very beat up, which is to be expected, but this is going to be pretty rough here. He does a very good job pushing off my Feral Carnosaur. I do use Focus Instinct to try and keep it from rampaging, but it's just going to go. And we get another nuke right here from Croak Daddy, and is it going to do good damage? It does not much, actually. It seems like there was maybe not too many vampire troops right there. Anyways, we go in for the Claw of Nagash. Croak is coming in himself. He does do magic damage, plus he also has 450 weapons rank. So Croak's going to be jumping in here. The Claw of Nagash is going to be getting relatively low, but a very nice Invocation of Nehek is going to be healing that up. And I was like, God damn it, we need to kill that Claw of Nagash. That was like my last hope there. But the Claw of Nagash is going to be just Tokyo drifting away from my forces. Now we have another monster fight. However, this Feral Carnosaur is going to be coming back in, which is really nice. And we're getting some okay engagements. The Devils are pretty much offline. The Vampire Count Infantry are actually enduring. Star Chamber Guardians only have 21 models here. And it's really just because of that Claw of Nagash. We haven't been able to kill it all game. It's so slippery. The slow is just so good. Whenever anything near it, it gets hit with this chilling aura that slows them down and just makes it so hard to catch that thing. So Croak might be able to smite it here a little bit tough. It looks like there's going to be a zombie summon back here. Maybe zombie. I always think of that song. Right there, we get a Croak explosion, but it was only tier 1, so it doesn't do a ton of damage. Granted, we are able to kind of get these guys into critical binding, which is going to be quite nice. But for the first time in the game, the vampire counts pull ahead pretty substantially in regards to the bounce power, and I'm just getting Croak and my Red Crested King Chief. I'm like, God damn it, why won't this thing die? We're attacking the Claw of Nagash, and he actually makes it unbreakable with the Crown of Command, so it's not going to be crumbling. God damn, such good play here, such cool tactics. And the Claw of Nagash here is going to be going down, maybe 817, 825. We have the Skink Chief plus Croak Daddy trying to get in there, and we get another ram there, but we just can't break it. We just can't do it, Bob. And the other Feral Carnosaur is going to be coming back in, and I'm just going to be going after these Graveguard on the far side. I figure coming in here is just going to be too close to his Lamian Vampire Lord and company. So we're going to be trying to get in there and just grind it out. I mean, the Red Crested Skink Chief is a good duelist. Lamian Vampire Lord is somewhat beat up. I believe the Skink Chief has 4.9 compared to your 3.4, so it wouldn't be a terrible fight. And here comes the Carnosaur. Oh, but it looks like the Claw of Nagash was able to dodge me there. That's so rough. It was at negative leadership for just a second, and now the Feral Carnosaur is going to be in mortal combat versus the Terrorgeist, and the Terrorgeist is just so much healthier. I mean, Carnosaurs do pretty well in that trade, and the Claw of Nagash just won't die. 457. We're just trying our hardest to grind this thing out, but it seems like the Lamian Vampire Lord is kind of wearing down my forces. It's just doing so much work, and here we do drop a shield of the old ones. Warrior's Crest going down as well, and it looks like this Feral Carnosaur is going to be shattering due to army losses, and the Claw of Nagash has 27 HP, 23, 17. Is it going to die? Oh, 9 HP. Come on, come on, give it to me. And it looks like it finally crumbles, but alas, it's going to be too late. Masterful control from Aerocrastic, and we were actually talking about the build beforehand. We're like, I feel like this is a really hard matchup to win for the Vampires, and you know, I think it's agreed upon that it is, but it can be done for sure. You just have to be very on point with your micro in terms of dodging the Croak explosions, because then your Graveguard can eventually, with a little bit of support from things like Seduction and of course, you know, Invocation of the Heck, they can eventually beat down the Graveguard over a long grindy fight if you outnumber them. I think he had like 4 or 5 Graveguard in total, and there you can see Croak Daddy is going to be getting spit roasted by that lovely Vampire Lord right there. And yeah, it was a really cool build, but like I said, a lot of players, you know, aren't going to be as efficient at dodging the Croak bombs, and I think if you can dodge them, just think about it. Like Wind Blasts are going to be super efficient in terms of like your opponent can't really dodge them with like a Wind Blast, for example, but Croak's bombs are more punishing if you don't dodge them, but Wind Blast is going to be more consistent. So it makes me think that the Croak bomb is very strong, but it makes me, you know, wonder, maybe like getting Wind Blast is better, because then you can nuke the Graveguard more efficiently. They can't dodge it because it's a quick cast time. But yeah, the Croak box is really nasty for multiple reasons. Obviously, you get the Supreme Shield, the old ones. He's pretty powerful himself. But yeah, I mean, Aerocrastic's play was so good. The Scepter of Instability, the dodges, just the conservative engagements, not blobbing up too much and making sure all of his forces were spread out. His alpha strikes were really good, and that is the one advantage the Vampire Counts really have, is that they have that flying engagement. You can pick your fights versus the big monsters, and if you have very good decision making and engagement tactics, you're going to be in great shape. So man, what an awesome game by him. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel. Again, it is Aerocrastic. It'll be linked in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.